Joining us now, it's Mark Harlan,
Mark, how are you?
Athletic Director at the University of Utah. A lot of things to talk about, but first off, one of the bigger storylines is a switch in apparel. What's the process in making that switch? Because I know that's not an easy thing to after a long time with Under Armour.
Yeah, Under Armour has been a terrific partner, for 17 years. And I think before we were scattered, in different brands. So I really, this last year, I started talking to Kevin Plank about, what do we do in the future as the deal was going. He wanted to renew right away, which was great. It's not as easy as it once was to get these deals. They've tightened up a little bit. But I asked him for consideration to let's go out early and talk to the others. I thought we owed it. We had new coaches. We got our new company, Crimson Brand Partners. We got a lot of different things cooking. And he was like, okay, go check it out. The contract was restrictive, so he had to allow that. And we went out there and we learned a lot. We talked to all of them. They were all interested. And, Adidas kind of rose above everybody, for a couple different reasons. One, just the way they're going to, kind of activate their brand with our brand. Their president came down, went through our bookstore. Here he is getting ready for all the World Cup stuff, but he was taking all the time. He wanted to walk campus. And big golfer, by the way, PK.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
that's not a deal
so
breaker.
We'll catch you on your Wednesday matches, whatever you guys talk about.
Tuesday.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Tuesday. So it just it just came down to really one big difference for me, which was their NIL programming. Quite candidly, they have an all student athlete approach to it, not just the big names, and very innovative. And when I talked to Graham at ASU and Travis at Kansas, it was real. It wasn't just something on paper. So
we are Adidas.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, that's right. So we went back to Under Armour and we had a tough conversation, but we agreed we're going to have a great year in our final year. I'll go around with all our sports, and we'll switch over next July 1st. We're really looking forward to it.
Crazy impressed with the athletes that have come through today. We had a great interview just recently with Dampier and Holtzclaw, who went back and represented Congress.
Right.
But the topic of conversation is a new coach, and we had Morgan on first thing. And I think the last, Holtzclaw and Dampier said it best. Like they invested in him. Like them
That's
being
right.
here, they could have run. Talk about Morgan Scally, and I know you probably already see what I see in terms of what he's going to be, but that is the topic. Can Utah continue to be Utah with a new coach?
Yeah, Morgan's so prepared. It's one thing to say it, and then it's one thing to see it. Like I get to watch. I mean, from the moment I called him on the 26th and I said, "Hey, man, you want to coach this game?" We've had a little change in some calls I was on earlier in the morning, and he's like, "Let's go." And from that moment on, it's been let's go. It's like he imagined a roadmap that was going to go all these different directions, and so he's planned for everything. Because as soon as we got back to campus, then we're dealing with the portal, and we that portal got a little bit more spicy than maybe we predicted, and managing that, keeping a level head, zig and zagging, and then that leads into spring football and the energy on the practice field. And I think the one thing that I've really enjoyed is, and it's it's true, I don't think this is any secret, there's been kind of a defensive offensive approach at Utah for a long time, and to watch the team all come together under some of the leadership training that Morgan's doing for all of them, and kind of being one a little bit more than we've been, I think will be really helpful in certain situations as we move forward. But the staff he brought in, I can go on and on. He's prepared. He's ready. And, what a rare opportunity for an athletic director to work with somebody up close for 7 years and see it. And I know, I knew he was ready. Sometimes you meet these guys and you hire them in 6 days. That's just the way college football works and basketball. But not here. So he's ready to roll, and we had a ball yesterday just flying out talking about there's just this enthusiasm that comes out. I'm sure you guys, I listened to it this morning.
No doubt.
And it's special, and the guys feel it. The guys feel it, and that's really important.
Yeah, I had an idea that it was coming on the 26th, and we all thought that was going to be an off day. Turns out it wasn't, which is fine.
Sorry about that.
No,
especially to you.
I just pushed it back. I was down south.
At least it wasn't the 25th.
Even better. Yeah.
Almost was.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that. But going forward, and that's what we have to do for you. There's so much pressure always on football, and so much attention. It just floats and carries everything. And now it's controversial, Mark, that he left. Speaking of Kyle, obviously, and you're a guy that I can speak frankly to because you're going to acknowledge it and not pretend it doesn't exist. And I think we have that type of relationship. And so with that in mind, you're sort of now tied at the hip of Morgan Scalley because he's your guy and you're thought of that it's making the move. But there's always pressure. Do you feel it anymore? Because even no matter if Joe Blow was coaching there, it would still be a ton of pressure because of what Utah football has become.
Well, I appreciate that relationship we have. I just know at the ASU, I just got to talk a little slower. So I'll talk slow in my answer to this. That's a you.
Thank you so much for that.
I'm appreciative that your wife a few years back bought you a thesaurus so you could actually use words that have more than one syllable.
No, spell thesaurus. What was your question again?
He thinks that's a dinosaur.
Well, because he is. No.
Okay.
Let's keep going. No, listen, there's pressure. I think any athletic director feels pressure. I know the outside likes to talk about it's your guy because you hired him.
Right,
and
you've heard all that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I get that. And when I was at South Florida, it was the same thing. When I hired Charlie Strong, it's your guy, I guess I've never operated that way. I mean, I had a great relationship with Whit. We certainly had some disagreements along the way, like every athletic director and football coach. I mean, I don't know if anybody, if there's not some tension there, you're probably not doing it the right way, or we're not pushing each other the right way. We certainly at the end just couldn't figure out a way to keep him another year, and we tried, and it is what it is. It's pretty public and all that other.
Yeah.
I wish him the absolute best. I mean, I really do, and I just talked to Doug Elisaya the other day. I mean, these are some really good people. So. But, I don't look at it that way. I look at the fact that we have a great structure that he left, that Morgan was trained in, and I feel like we have a great roster, and I feel like the work has been intense, and that's all you can really ask for. So I know that's a fair question. I don't feel anything different. There's always a sense of anxiety. Whenever I'm at media day, whatever team that I've been around, because you see everybody else apparently has been lifting weights too.
Yeah, there you go.
And and plotting and planning. I talked to a lot of coaches here today, so I think there's always a little bit of that. But I'm being honest when I say whether it was Alex's first year or Craig's first year, you don't feel much differently. You just want to make sure you're continuing to support them so that they can have the best kind of success.
And I think the good thing for you guys is, at least from my projection, the success I think will come over the next September, October, November, and all that stuff. I think you're going to have a good team.
Well, I was thinking I've talked to Morgan about pressure, right? Does he feel, you can imagine, he just is so excited and ready. I just don't sense it. I think it's always good for us always to feel pressure. You guys got pressure on ratings, and there's just things that are there.
Well, those guys do.
Yeah, those guys.
His contract's, much different than ours, Mark.
Guaranteed, whether it's a 0 or a 10 or whatever.
I just love that you put him in his spot. Yeah, that's what I love.
Again. People thinking they'll hear that, he hates PK, but they don't know that's not the truth.
It's not the way it is.
Yeah. We know it because he's done that.
Well, it's your partner. After I interrupted him on our last interview, I saw him the next day at McBride's golf tournament.
He
goes, I'm sorry. I go, well, I'm sorry. But everyone thinks we hate each other.
I know. He told me about that.
Anyway.
Yeah.
When you the private equity thing, I think the influx of money, I think sometimes may feel like donors are like, all right, you guys are good.
Right.
There's no such thing as a plateau in this day and age. Well, ever in college athletics, but especially in this day and age. That certainly is helpful, but certainly you can't say, okay, you guys are off the hook now, because fundraising is always such a huge issue in college athletics.
Yeah, we certainly knew when we created Crimson Brand Partners, and by the way, they're up and running and hiring people. We think it's going to get to 70 before the football season. They're really cooking, and it's exciting to watch them and work with them, and it's going to be great. We look forward to updating everybody as we try different things. But you hit on something that was a concern when I first was diving into this a few years ago is, would donors feel that? And so we've been really clear with certainly our top families and our top people about the fact that, this is operational money that's going to help us move forward and retain and all that. But we still have a scholarship bill that is critical. We added 30 scholarships in the program last year, which we haven't said enough about. That's part of the new rules where it's not scholarship, restrictions anymore. There's just roster restrictions. So we're asking our donors to fund that. We've got 5 people on our mental health team now, which I think have been critical to us having top 5 graduation rates in the country at University of Utah. So we need that privately supported, quite candidly. And so we're going to be launching a campaign on that, and it's just education, talking to people, right? Because people see private equity and they gag, right? So we really got to make sure people understand what we're doing there, and then still the importance of the Crimson Club. We finished the year, I think, with close to 13,000 donors, the highest we've ever had, and we need to make sure that number continues to rise.
I know there were some knee-jerk radio guys that were talking about that deal, right, Paul? I talked to Paul one day. Maybe we had said a little too much, and you know what? It was exactly that. Probably don't have all the facts, but one thing I do love is that it's operating cash to generate cash.
Right.
I mean, that's really the message, or that's really the use of that.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, too, it's as simple as just trying to get better. We've had outside companies partner with us for years. Learfields, they're called, and others, and we've had legends, ironically owned by the Cowboys, doing our outbound ticket sales. 11 employees that have been on campus for years. Those groups are now vacating, and this group comes in, and so operationally, it's really going to allow us to improve both in fan experience because we're investing more, quite candidly, to your point.
Right.
And people and in things. It's not, not going to walk in the first football game now and see everything different. We got a lot of work to do. I mean, we'll have those fancy lights that BYU has. Everybody gives me all the grief. I get so much grief on that. Harlan, where's the red lights? Like, I don't know. But we got them now.
Where's our drones?
As long as we push the right button. Yeah, where's our drones? We had that at baseball. We'll have some of that stuff that they'll see. But it's just going to allow us, like, the big thing that President Randall did and the trustees is they listened because businesses now, especially with Ryan and everything he's doing downtown with his two incredible teams, they create these corporate partnerships that are, way beyond a sign. They're true partners. That's what we're doing. And the whole campus is involved now. So now we can go out and speak to a big-time place, and we can talk about being involved with the whole university, not just – and we're already seeing some success. We had a great one this week that worked out. That's going to be kind of where we are. But I get it. People want to know, what are you doing with this billions and billions? I mean, for all these different numbers, and I know everyone wants to know, but that's there for us to grow. That's there for us to help until we get above the line, right? We have deficits now. Everybody deficits.
Does, yeah.
And it's just – so we'll be able to do that. And then lastly, just what they're going to do for us in NIL is just a whole different – the above rev share number, and we're going to start seeing a lot of our athletes in these all-campus deals. It's going to be really exciting.
I am curious to know how it works in terms of what your relationship is with them, and who has final say over staffing and
right.
even the details of that.
Well, Matt Webb, who we'll get on your guys' show, he's here now. He's the president. He's the former SVP for the Saints and for the Pelicans. He's terrific. He and I meet every Monday morning. We go through everything they're working on, thinking about. We got some CapEx in this deal. We're going to do some improvements to the stadium and other things. We've worked on all that. And so is that New York?
Yeah.
Is that PK?
PK is like
we can't take this.
You can turn
your
phone off.
It's a good song, though.
I didn't even know.
It could have been worse on his phone.
The worst is, by the way, Ron McBride, who does a show with us every Friday, he's got this like air horn from World War II.
Yeah.
And,
I love when he's on. I listen every time.
That's in honor of my parents. They're gone now, and they like Frank Sinatra.
See what he just did there.
Yeah,
redirected to make us all feel bad.
And you get up and walk away, and we get to sit here for a couple more hours.
Yeah. I just want to make some people don't think I really am a human being, and I have emotions.
No, you are.
And
You're real.
Yeah.
You're gonna come down in.
You're a real something.
You're not AI yet. So
you got
to
come get in studio with us when we get back home sometime.
No, I'd love to do that. But just closing on that thought, I'm the chairman of the board.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah, that's why I thought that's why you're playing that. I'm chair of the board, and so obviously that's just that, and the university has governance rights on everything. So and all stuff. So if they bring us a dumb sponsor, we'll say no, we're not doing that. I mean that's silly, but they won't. Yeah. But so I still have full say as you'd expect for all the coaching, all the personnel, all that. But I've interviewed all the people he's bringing in, and if I didn't like one, I told him. If I liked him, I told him, right? I mean, it's a very collaborative process because if we're not collaborative, we're not going to get the lift that we need.
Have you found that Morgan Scally can actually help you in the fundraising portion? Because I relate it to when Kalani went from Oregon State to BYU, right? Lavelle Edwards retired. They have two coaches. One was very successful, the other not so much. But neither of them were so-called BYU guys, right? Kalani brought back everything, and I was out of town, so I couldn't come to the press conference for Scally, or else I would have been there. But the thing that when he got done, he walked right over to Ron McBride.
Yeah.
Right, and Ron McBride is a true Utah guy.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering if that not necessarily rejuvenates, but just energizes it to a higher level, because Scally, out of everybody on the planet, there's no more of a Utah guy than Morgan Scally.
Yeah, Morgan, it's an authentic approach he has with donors. You know, he's got such incredible relationship. He's been doing Chalk Talks with our donors for years. You know, we don't really talk about it much, but he'll bring a group in and he'll kind of talk about what things he's thinking about. He's done that forever. He's always telling me, Mark, let's go see somebody. You know, he works with Matt Webb. You know, he told Matt, let's go see some companies. He already wants to meet the monster people. You know, that's just kind of in his personality. He's a very outgoing way about him. We had a donor event at my house a couple weeks ago, and Morgan was there and just gave an incredible talk. You know, it's just when someone's very authentic and talking about something they're passionate about, it's pretty powerful. So people lean in, and yeah, we're getting a lot of support. It's pretty exciting.
What's on the playlist? What's your music go-to?
You know, it's funny. I'm on an 80s kick right now.
I live there, bro.
Nothing wrong with
that.
that.
I'm stuck.
I don't.
Bananarama?
You know,
Devo?
a couple Bananarama
Little
songs.
hazy
I
shade of
roll
white.
it
Are you
on
more of a rocker? Like,
yeah, I mean, I roll. I love the Eagles. That's I love. But when I'm out running in the morning now, I just got the 80s mix.
And it's just that
and
80s.
You think about these memories,
Tina Turner will come on to, you know, Phil Collins. For Christ's
well,
sakes.
Phil Collins. Yeah.
He was unbelievable in
Yeah.
the 80s, just one after the other.
So yeah, that whole deal. I mean, I'm kind of, we just know what his playlist is. He just played. Again, sorry about your parents.
Honor my parents.
Oh, my. You know
Lord.
what that reminded me of?
My mom?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to have to miss a game today, I mean, Mom,
The mother was sick for 25 years.
I do a really
man.
good Majerus, Mark. I'll have to
Oh
do it
yeah,
for you.
no, I imagine you do.
Okay.
Well, Mark, we appreciate
Thank
it.
you
Thanks
so
for coming
much.
by.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
it.